Right, because I promised myself I would only shoot videos when I was super inspired, and the light is really crap right now in the bedroom, I'm going to shoot this video really quickly before I go to bed because I don't want to put it off until morning and not be inspired and not talk about this. So, I want to talk about astrology, not having to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. I want to talk about believing in yourself. And I want to talk about vibing with the energy in general. So, vibing with energy in general. I have too much crap that I've received from other people that I need to get rid of, that I need to finish selling. Okay, anyway, so tonight I want to talk about my story of a time when I had to start over from scratch when I shouldn't have had to. I want to talk about things affecting you in a way in which you had something that you felt before and that you can't necessarily get back to when you should have never lost it in the first place. Through story time. So, First off, I guess I'll go into astrology not having to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, at some point, I knew that my Saturn return was coming up, and I let that get to me at one point when it didn't need to. I always say that, astrology can be a really great way to help you learn lessons, help you prepare for things, help you figure out what you should be focusing on right now, but it does not have to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, Saturn returns are times where if you haven't, and this is just a small snippet, for some people Saturn returns will be times where if they didn't work on something ahead of time, if they didn't learn the lesson ahead of time, once your Saturn return comes in, you may have things that pop up that are like, hey, I'm still here, I'm still a lesson you need to learn. They might present you with things that you still haven't dealt with, even though it seems like you did even. And for me, that was me having built my business, built all of this abundance for myself, and then all of a sudden, in a matter of a couple of months, I went from just extremely thriving to feeling like I was starting all over from scratch again because I let my Saturn return, be a self-fulfilling prophecy and bring my vibration down when it didn't need to. Like, I let all of these worries in that were almost arrogant. I let all these worries in that I didn't need to be worried about, feeling like I didn't have enough when I was so abundant. Oh my goodness, if I could go back there again. This is kind of what I'm talking about. And I am getting back there, but I let myself take myself down a notch when I didn't have to. And that's a big lesson. If you have what you've been asking for from the universe and you don't appreciate it, you aren't grateful for it, it will be taken away from you. You can build from an amazing place. And if you just for a minute take it for granted or feel like it's not enough and not just be thankful for it, the universe will rip that right out from under your feet. Let me tell you. As I've said in other videos, I was at a place where I literally gave my friend an iPhone and was like, you know what? I want the new one. Take my old one. On both a spiritually and a financial, that's not right. I spent Ugh, I think it's time for me to go to bed. I, on the spiritual and in the physical planes, was wealthy and healthy. And I just for a minute let the worries of Saturn return, of the future, rather than reminding myself that I am always provided for. Always, 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 because not only do I believe, not only do I hold that strong vibration, but I do the practical and inspired work. So the fact that I even for a moment let that creep in and feel like I didn't have enough, feel like I was not worthy, and feel like I had forgotten how much of a leader I was, truly. I let it knock me down to this place of, oh my goodness. And there were a lot of other little things that played into this as well, but for that moment, I forgot who I was, and I forgot my connection to the universe. And the universe was like, hey, bitch, I'm over here. You used to know how to do this. What happened? Where did it go? What got to you? And that's what I have my clients ask themselves, is if they feel like they had it and then lost it, what was it that you let get in the way of what you knew before? Because you're going to have to rebuild that. And so I stop and I ask myself, how was I before? You know, a lot of people, if you don't have it, you know, will tell you, what would it look like if you did have it? What would you be doing? How would you be feeling? How would you be acting if you did have it? And so for me, that question is, okay, well, I know what it was like to have it before. What was I doing then? What did I stop doing? What did I let creep in to make me feel like I wasn't just amazing anymore and abundant and overflowing? And replace that. And the moment I did that, I started to get it back. And slowly but surely, things, you know, I'm still getting there, to be honest. You know, I still haven't built it back up, especially now that all of the shelter in place has happened. It's definitely been a slower ride to build it back up, which for so many reasons, I wish I hadn't let that all get to me, because then I would be so much more, as my business mentor says, you know, same storm, different boat. I would be just that much more thriving than I already am. And recognizing that I am thriving, that I don't want for much, if anything. And having my Saturn return put me in that place to remind me that I do need to keep doing all the things, because again, as my business mentor has said, and I believe Amanda Francis maybe has even said, you know, just because you're an athlete doesn't mean you stop practicing. And that's a big thing, is that for a moment I felt like I was doing so well that I could stop doing the work on certain levels. And oh boy, was I reminded. And then for a little bit, I was doing the work so hard that I was almost strangling it. That's one of the other things that I love, the way Amanda Francis puts it. You know, you've got to hold on loosely, because it's so important to, you know, as I say, not be a needy girlfriend to the universe, to appreciate what you have, and to make sure that you're not, as my business mentor said, strangling it, because that's not going to work either. You have to say, this is what I want, and then let it go, and trusting that the universe provides for you because you deserve it, because you're a piece of the universe. You're a piece of Source, Spirit, God. Some people call it the child of God. Some people refer to it as the cosmic consciousness, and being a part of Source, being one with everything. We are. whatever feels good for you to call it. We are all divine children of God. We are all a piece of the universe. We are all a piece of Source, and Source is us. And just breathe that in. And so, my lesson here is to make sure, as you are receiving, to, as I said, don't take it for granted. I really didn't take it for granted. I didn't. I appreciated it so much. You can't let other people get to you. That was really more the mistake I made, was I let this idea of the Saturn return, and then I let some other people's worries that were not my own get to me. And then just release and trust. I am grounded in my power. I am the leader that I was 6 months ago. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed about me. Not really. I just thought it had changed. And so stepping back into that, allowing myself, especially as I moved on to going from an in-person business that I had that had been part-time, that was thriving for 6 years, and saying to myself internally, all of a sudden, I felt less than to some degree. Maybe not less than, but I all of a sudden felt like I was an amateur. And that was silly. That was very silly. I all of a sudden, because I was stepping into this platform of being online rather than doing it in person, all of a sudden, for some reason, felt like I wasn't ready, that I wasn't worthy, that I don't know, all sorts of weird things that I don't really believe. But for a moment, let someone else convince me that I didn't have things that they had. And that's just so silly. I ended up wasting a decent amount of money because I was too eager to be the student. And sometimes it's always great to be the student. It's always great to come from a place of I have more to learn in this world. But sometimes you've got to just harness that inner power and say, you know what? I've got this. And take the time, take the breath. And as I say, also do the research. This is all where this all comes together, for me at least, recently, is I could have done more research before I just jumped into letting anybody be my mentor, because I ended up wasting money. I ended up feeling gross about what I was forcing. I just did a video on not forcing things. I was forcing the need to feel like I had something to learn from somebody when I was just fine. I didn't need it. And now, since I got myself out of that situation and took a deep breath, asked God, Spirit, Source for guidance, found a business mentor that could help me out, that wasn't going to make me feel like I was wasting my money, and is actually coming from the place that I am as a spiritual boss lady. That's what my t-shirt says. I love this shirt. I gotta just show it off for a minute. Spiritual boss lady. I love this new shirt from Amanda Francis. Sometimes we just have to remind ourselves we have everything we need and go from there. And then if we really still feel like we have more to learn, because we do, we always do. We are forever and always going to have more to learn. But that being said, truly ask yourself, does this align with me? Do I really have more to learn, or am I letting the ego make me feel like I'm not enough? Is Spirit leading me to learn more, or is the ego telling me I'm not enough? Because often I find that if I take a step back, take a deep breath, and ask myself, am I really not enough? Do I really need more? Is there something I really am missing? Or am I just letting, as Amanda Francis says, lies from the devil creep in and get to me through my ego? And often I find there are ways in which I can do what I want to do without all the hubbub. So yeah, that's my riff for the evening. I like these jumbled spirit riffs that go from what I think is one thing and moves into something else. But I felt like someone needed to hear that because, you know, on a daily basis, I really do have my shit together. But even I sometimes have moments where even when I know I'm enough, there's a little part of me that feels like I'm missing something. And it's not that I'm missing something. I'm not missing anything. It's that I'm a human being, and we're all going to be learning forever and ever. And there are times where we need to acknowledge that, and there are times we need to acknowledge that we're whole just the way we are right now. That feels so good. Anyway, I hope that for anybody who needed to hear this, this was as guided for you as it was for me. And this spiritual boss lady, your Silicon Valley Sage sister, is going to wash my face. I freaking love this stuff. This is not an ad. I'm just in the bathroom right now because it's better lighting. This stuff from Trader Joe's is freaking... Can I get it to focus? This stuff from Trader Joe's is freaking amazing. Not an ad. I just love this stuff, and I'm about to put it all over my face. All right. I love you guys. Your spiritual sage sister coming at you with another spirit riff. I'm going to get some sleep. And I'll see you guys in another video on the social medias somewhere tomorrow.